Hello, my name is Zachary Shank. The presentation that I will be presenting is for the course Sports Marketing. I will be explaining the relationship between my first article, which is the revolution of sports sponsorships and how it relates to sponsorships. And I'll also be explaining the relationship between my second article, which is Rawlings baseball gloves and the consumer, and how it relates to distribution in sports marketing. I will also explain whether this information would be useful to sports marketing professionals and how this information could be utilized. Okay, to start off, let me first define and describe some terms. The first term is sponsorship. A sponsorship is the gaining of rights to affiliate themselves as a sponsor with a product or event for the purpose of obtaining benefits related to that association. For example, sponsors use their relationship with an organization to promote themselves or to support their larger marketing plans. The next term is distribution. In sports marketing, distribution is the spreading of a sport product to consumers. For example, an organization has several tactics to perform an effective distribution of the sport product. Um, okay, now that we have sponsorships and distribution covered, let me talk about how they relate to my chosen articles. My first article is from Forbes called "The Revolution of Sports Sponsorships," and that's exactly what the article is about. It's about the changing and developing and the revolution of sponsorships in sports and in the sports world. Um, it talks about how as advertising and marketing strategy has evolved over the last few decades, um, there's no one tactic out there that companies and organizations use to reach consumers, because there's been so much transformation by sponsorships. In the article, it defines sponsorships as uh, the cash-in kind of fee paid to a property in return for access to the exploitable commercial potential associated with that property. Um, for example, because advertising is such a expensive business, it's $100 billion business. Sponsors view advertising as the most important weapon to use nowadays. Um, and sponsorships will say that finding ways to stand out is a necessity. It's very important. Some brands have shifted their focus on finding dynamic partnerships that allow engagement with consumers on an ongoing basis to become fabricated in the events that they sponsor rather than simply use them as just a consumer, is what the article also defines sponsorship tactics. And as I mentioned earlier, sponsorships are recognizing that the sports marketing world is developing, and in order to stay in the game and to stay ahead of the competition, they need to create ways to more dynamic and engaging campaigns that allow the brands to become an actual part of the property. My other article, which is called Rawlings Baseball Gloves and the Consumer, talks about how the Rawlings name uh, is tied to the Major League Baseball organization, and because of that connection, it increases the credibility and popularity of the brand. Um, when selling a product like a Rawlings glove that prides itself on the value and the performance that it brings to Major League Baseball players, it it's a valuable baseball tool. It speaks volumes to consumers, which ultimately helps with their distribution. Rawlings gloves um, are distributed and they're purchased by people of all ages, from youth to teenagers to adults. Um, and Rawlings is one of the most popular gloves among baseball and softball players, and that's because the credit and thanks is given to the power of the professional athletes that endorse Rawlings gloves, um, and also because Rawlings is connected to Major League Baseball, it gives them a distribution edge over its competition. Um, Rawlings baseball gloves are also distributed and sold online through their website. They offer plenty of options. Each and every glove they make is offered online, and they even offer the choice to their buyer to customize the glove to their liking. Rawlings also markets their gloves through websites like JustGloves.com, which is a popular website uh, for selling baseball gloves and softball gloves, and they even use distribution tools like other retailers such as Dick's Sporting Goods or Big Five or Hibbett Sports. They use these local sporting goods and their retailers as other common retailers for their Rawlings equipment. So in short, Rawlings is an excellent distribution. They're excellent at distributing their products to consumers. Um, Ultimately, I would definitely agree that and say that sponsorships and distribution are imperative. They're very important for sports marketing professionals, um, because these two methods, sponsorships and distribution, they go a long way in the sports marketing world. Sports marketers, they need to utilize this information because sponsorships and distribution is market power, and when you have a lot of market power, you bring in a lot of money. Even though I'm not a professional marketer myself, my advice would be my advice to a professional sports marketer or just a sports marketer in general, it would be to get in sync with today's evolving tactics of sponsoring um, events or products. That way your brand can stay with the game, stay ahead of the competition, and to also identify distribution ways and tactics to reach consumers on a personal level. Um, those are the advice I would give to professional sports marketers, and that concludes my presentation. Thank you.